So, where do you guys think your thoughts come from?
Our brain.
Yeah?
Yeah, brain.
So, how does your head or brain make your thoughts?
Because
No comments.
Well, let's think about this for a minute here. Is it, so most people say that it's what happens or other people that make them feel the way they do.
yeah,
But here's the thing. As long as that's what you believe, it'll be true because your thoughts are so powerful, they create your reality. And if you believe that it's other people or situations that make you feel the way you do, then you are giving away all your power. You're allowing that other person or that situation to have all the power to decide whether you feel okay or not.
Well, why? Does it give them all the power?
Because you're letting them or the situation, by whether it goes the way you want it to or not, decide whether you feel okay. Like you've got that coach, Jack, that you kind of don't like right now, right? Uh-huh. So if you're leaving the game and you're all upset for a long time and upset during the game, you're giving him all the power to decide whether you have okay feelings or not. Now, how do you like the idea of giving somebody that you kind of don't like right now that power, all your power over you, to make that decision whether you feel okay or not?
not good.
Not that good, right?
I would not feel good from him either.
So here's the thing. It's not really what other people do or what happens that makes you feel the way you do. It's how you think about what happens. Like if it started raining right now, I could get really upset. I could say, no, I'm trying to shoot this video and we're supposed to go roller skating and then we're going to go fishing and this is going to ruin everything. And I could be really mad about it raining for the whole rest of the day, right? Or it could start raining and I could say, oh, this is awesome. It's going to be really good for the grass and maybe it'll start turning green again and it'll be good for the garden and maybe the river will fill up and flood a little bit and then I'll get to do some whitewater canoeing or kayaking. I love that. This is awesome that it's raining. And I could be happy about it raining all day. So it's the same thing that happens either way, the rain. It's how I think about the rain that makes me feel the way I do. So do I have any control over whether it rains or not?
No.
Not really, right? It would be smarter probably if I want to feel the way I want to feel for me to allow the rain instead of saying it shouldn't be raining. So a lot of times when we're upset, it's because we're resisting reality or resisting what is. You know, I could wake up tomorrow morning and say, oh no, you know, the sky is blue and I think it should be red. Why isn't the sky red? And I could be really mad for the rest of my days because the sky isn't red. And so what I'm doing then is I'm giving the sky the responsibility for my happiness. Or you're giving that coach that annoys you the responsibility for your happiness. Or you're giving the kid that bugs you all your responsibility for your happiness. You're giving away all your power instead of taking responsibility for your own happiness and your own feelings. So, have you ever noticed how sometimes people have a fence around their garden? So why did they put a fence around their garden?
So animals can't come in and eat their garden?
Right, exactly. It's a boundary. It's there to keep the bad stuff out and the good stuff in, right? Just like your cell wall is a boundary, it allows things that are healthy to pass through it and keeps out the toxic stuff. And your skin is a boundary. It determines the difference between what is you and what is not you and keeps out bacteria that's harmful and, you know, kind of defines your shape and stuff like that. So boundaries are there to allow the good stuff to pass through and keep the bad stuff out. But here's the thing. For some reason, human beings get the boundary around their thoughts and their minds backwards. And so what we tend to do, for whatever reason, is we tend to focus on the stuff that bothers us and repeat the things that are negative and unpleasant over and over and get stuck on those things. So essentially, we're keeping all the good thoughts out, all the things that we're grateful, everything that's working right is kept out, and we keep all the bad stuff in. Which, if you had a garden, that would be like if you continue to pay attention to the weeds that were growing in there by watering them, which means that pretty soon they would grow up all around you and they would be all prickly and uncomfortable and they would crowd out the good stuff. Well, you wouldn't do that with your garden, right?
No.
If you had weeds in your garden, what would you do? Yeah, you'd pull them out and throw them outside the fence, right?
No big deal.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to grow, like let's say you like cantaloupe, if you wanted to grow cantaloupe in your garden, what would you need to do?
Water
Make sure there's no weeds, water it, give it nutrients, make sure you have good soil.
And if you want cantaloupe, you would need to
Take care of your garden.
Give it a lot of water.
Sunlight,
what do you have to have first before you can have cantaloupe?
the seeds.
Oh yeah, the seeds, that's right. You need to plant the seeds of what you want to grow in the garden of your mind then. And one way you can do that is by making your dream book, right? So you can take a book and you can write down a dream and go on Google Images and put an image of that. And then every night before you go to sleep, you can read through and look through your dreams. And every night when you wake up, you can look at your dreams and then you're planting the seeds of what you want to grow in the garden of your mind. And so maybe we can get a shot of the dream books that you guys have started on. So we're going to do that in just a minute here. So a lot of times people want to know, well, why are you doing this? Why are you making these videos? Why are you making all these books? Why do you have this private counseling practice to help kids and their parents? Well, the reason is both simple and kind of complicated. There's a lot of reasons, but basically, back in the second grade, I was one of those kids who had a hard time sitting still and keeping my hands to myself and paying attention and all that. And so my teacher, my second grade teacher, seemed like she was always mad at me. And I was making good progress with my reading, and so the next year they put me in the turtle group instead of the roadrunner group, which made me furious. And I got in a lot of trouble in Mrs. Hefty's class in second grade. I even put snakes in the top drawer of her desk because I just couldn't understand why they were doing school the way they did. And I was mad because all she ever did was watch for me to be doing the wrong thing. She was always frowning. I even found a picture that my mom found in my second grade class, and there's Mrs. Hefty, and she's got this scowl on her face. I think maybe she didn't even like kids. I knew for sure she didn't like me. And so I made her life and my life a lot more difficult, of course, right? By doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to do to get back at her. And I remember thinking, you know, if the teachers are so smart, how come they don't let the kids ask the questions and the teachers ask them? So as I grew up, you know, things obviously got better. But I started watching and seeing all these things that people did with kids that I really just didn't agree with. And especially after I got my graduate degree and started working with people, I was working with all these children who were struggling and watching what the adults were doing with them. And it seemed like most of the time, what adults usually do with kids when they're having a hard time is they get mad at them, they punish them, they point out what they're doing wrong, they put more energy into when the problems are occurring. And it creates this big relationship problem, and it creates all this negative self-esteem, and it's not effective. It doesn't make the kids do better, it makes them get worse. And so I want to invite you to join me in finding out what you can do that will help the kids that you know that struggle be able to do a lot better. You know, I thought as I worked and did my private practice and worked with kids for 24 years, you know, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be lots of better ways that we could be doing this. And I realized also, you know, we don't need to be closing the door to counseling or therapy and making it all hidden. There's lots of things that anybody can do. They don't need a graduate degree. For a lot of the strategies that I teach, they're very practical, they're very down to earth, they're effective, they're easy to understand, and you don't need tons of training and supervision to be able to implement them with success. And so I made these videos and these ebooks to help the leaders of children who struggle guide and discipline in more effective ways. So don't wait, get started today.
Bye.